Hey everyone, welcome to a very special fireside chat, coffee chat. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's very special. My name is Aaron Francis. I am here with the person that you definitely know, Taylor Otwell, creator of Laravel. We just had Laracon here in Dallas where I live, and we decided to sit down. For the folks that maybe didn't get to see Laracon, we've got even some more announcements. So today we're going to talk with Taylor for a little bit. I don't think you need to, but do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Taylor Otwell, creator of Laravel. Glad to be here.
Exactly what I said, I nailed it. Okay, so we just had Laracon, very, very big Laravel Cloud announcement. Give us a recap for the people that weren't able to see it. What is Laravel Cloud?
Gosh, Laravel Cloud is really, in many ways, like the culmination of everything I've ever wanted to build for Laravel, as far as deploying Laravel applications goes. And it took me all the way back to 2014 in New York, which was the second Laracon, where I launched Laravel Forge. Not only did I launch Laravel Forge, but we also launched Laravel Homestead, actually, which was kind of the first local development environment.
I remember Homestead. Homestead was
Laravel. Good. And the whole theme of that conference was really ease of use from local development all the way to deployment, and that's why we had Homestead and we had Forge. And everyone has loved Forge over the years. Forge is a very important product to us and will continue to be an important product to us that we're still evolving. But as you know, Forge is basically a self-managed platform. You link your DigitalOcean account, you link your AWS account, and you still really are responsible for those servers. But what we really wanted to build is something where you could deploy a Laravel application onto a managed infrastructure, and our goal was in less than 1 minute.
Wow.
So right now, for example, it could take 10 to 15 minutes to boot up your server, to install everything, and we really wanted to cut that time down. I think when Forge first came out, it felt really great, a really great way to deploy PHP applications at the time. And as the years have gone by, other ecosystems have made it so easy to deploy, whether it's the JavaScript ecosystem or the Rust ecosystem or Python or whatever. And we had a little bit of catching up to do. And I think Cloud was us really realizing the vision for how we think Laravel should be deployed, managed, scaled, monitored, and basically the dream of what I always wanted to build.
So this has been, I saw that tweet you put out a little while back that was you on stage in 2014 with that slide behind you that said, I think, download to deployment was it, right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So this has been a 10-year journey.
Yes.
And I think, from an outsider's perspective, I have seen Laravel manage other people's infrastructure. So like Forge and Vapor and Envoy are all great tools. And what they do is orchestrate infrastructure that I own.
Right.
Which has been awesome. And I think really smart from your side, because then you don't have to worry about infrastructure.
Right.
But now you're biting off a pretty big project here. And so why cloud now? Because now you're taking on all of this infrastructure and managing it for people. And I assume that's why you've grown the team. But tell us why you're doing this at this point in your career.
It's a great question. Earlier this year and late last year, I honestly was really wrestling with where Laravel was and where it was going in the future. I think it's great that PHP is even like in the conversation of like backends to use in 2024, and people don't laugh about it, when they bring it up, which I think is a testament to how successful Laravel as a tool and we as a community have been at keeping this ecosystem relevant. And I think that that's great, because I believe we still have a very productive environment for building full stack web applications, enabling everyone from an indie hacker all the way up to an enterprise organization to ship way faster than they thought they could. And that's what we hear from people that switch to Laravel or begin using Laravel from other environments, is just like, wow, I had no idea I could even ship things this fast. But I was kind of waffling on where do we go from here, and I felt like what the community deserves and what the community needs is what we've been dancing around for 10 years, as far as an easy way to deploy and scale these applications where you can sleep well at night, not knowing that someone else is monitoring these servers for you, things are being backed up, it's scalable, it's ready to handle whatever you need. And I think it was just time to bite the bullet and like go all in on building the dream platform for launching and scaling Laravel apps that I've always wanted to build, but frankly was a little bit scared to build, over the years.
Terrifying.
And that's why, of course, we scaled up the team to be able to give us the resources to handle that, both on the infrastructure side, on the app development side, graphic design, customer support, the whole gamut, of the organization has been scaled. So, yeah, it was mainly just a fork in the road, of coast on what we've built so far. Don't take any big risk, or go all in and really try to build something amazing, for the next 10 years.
Yeah. So you personally reached this fork in the road where you're like, I've been bootstrapped for a long time.
Yep.
I've heard on many podcasts that you've been profitable since day one. So you've been profitable for a long time. And you're at this point in your career where you're like, this is pretty awesome.
Yes.
This is a pretty good, I've got a great ecosystem, I've got great tools, I've got a great team. And you're deciding, am I going to ride this until the sunset, or are we going to swing for the fences? And you chose swing for the fences. So
exactly. Yeah.
Being bootstrapped and profitable for so long, very lean team. I think, for a long time, you've had fewer than 10 people on the team. And now you're at something like, I don't know the latest numbers, but it's like 30 or something.
33, 34 people, yeah.
So many people. So I feel like being bootstrapped and profitable and hiring 33 people are kind of at odds with each other. So how do we square that? How do you hire that many people if you're like, I'm going to take this big risk? What does that look like functionally?
Yeah, you're right. We have been bootstrapped from essentially 2011 to 2024. At the beginning of the year, that changed. We decided to partner with Accel, a very well-known firm out of San Francisco who has funded companies ranging from Sentry to Pusher to Vercel, and decided to finally raise a Series A of $57 million with Accel to scale this company and to swing for the fences.
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah. First of all, Series A, $57 million with not just any VC, with Accel, who has backed some of the best dev tools in the space. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Wow. A lot of questions. Let's start with, I think we know why now, because you wanted to take this bigger risk and give the community, in your words, what it deserves. Like it deserves this 1-minute deploy infrastructure platform. So we know why now. So talk to me about why Accel. I know so little about VC funding. Why Accel? How did you hook up with them? How did that happen? And did it take a super long time? Because I imagine that you've been getting emails for the past 10 years. So why them? And
it did take a super long time, and it was more them hooking up with me more than me hooking up with them. So really, I mean, to give you the honest story, most of 2023, I feel like Accel chased us a little bit, around the country, coming to Laracon US. They sponsored Laracon US last year, in fact, and sponsored the after party. Yep. Coming to Portugal, actually.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, they were very impressed by Laravel's passionate community. I think that's probably one of the main things that drew their attention to Laravel as a very special ecosystem where you go to a Laracon, people aren't like wandering around on their laptops, not paying attention. Like everyone's in their seats, like they're excited. They want to see what all the new stuff is. And everyone that comes to Laracon and they've been to other conferences, they're like, wow, conferences aren't usually like this. So I think that the passionate community of Laravel and how vast the ecosystem and mature it was very appealing to them. And they just wanted to have a conversation about, are there interesting ways that we could partner together? And what would you like to build? Like what's your dream for the future of Laravel? And I think they also really appreciated the fact that Laravel was lean, that we're not a really bulky, slow company. We get a lot done with relatively few people. Everything we've built thus far, Forge, Envoy, Vapor, Nova, Spark, and then the 30 plus open source.
Please don't list them all. We're on time
30
here.
plus open source packages, have been built by, at the beginning of this year, a team of 9 people. And for a lot of that time, it was only 3 or 4 people. And, for several years, it was just me and one other developer. So it's been a very small company for a long time. And I think they appreciated that. And I think what I was excited about is they want us to maintain that philosophy.
Okay.
So I think when a lot of companies raise money, there's always fear that it's higher, whether you need it or not, and you scale to sort of these unreasonable proportions.
Because you need to deploy the capital.
Sure, yeah, it's not very responsible. And, we don't want to operate that way. I don't want to operate that way. I don't want to run a big, bulky company. I want to be a lean, awesome machine that's just shipping amazing tools for developers and getting them done quickly. And that's how we've stayed. Throughout this hiring process, we've tried to hire the best people we can find to let us do that without becoming slow and lots of red tape.
Bureaucratic.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, they courted you for a long time.
Yes.
And at some point you became comfortable with the idea of taking on VC money to fulfill this vision that you had for the company.
Right.
And what I'm hearing is Accel wants you to keep doing the exact same things, but bigger.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what was really appealing to it about me is we don't really want to change the underlying core philosophy of the company or what you're about. But we would like to help you augment it a little bit to help you realize what you would like to do. And it really just goes back to being in that fork on the road. And I told that to Accel as well, where I feel like there's kind of 2 paths I can take. I can coast with what I have now and life is good and that's fine. Or we can really build some pretty ambitious projects. And cloud is not the only ambitious project that we've been working on. And I felt like I honestly owed it to the Laravel community in a sense to at least try to build those types of tools because that's what people deserve that have come into this ecosystem. We have the unique opportunity to affect the daily lives of many tens of thousands of developers, and that's something that is really once in a lifetime, and I felt like we deserve, or they deserved, at least our best effort at giving them the best tools possible. And so at that point, just resting on our laurels and coasting felt like a disservice, I think, to the Laravel ecosystem. And that was really kind of the final nail in the coffin in my mind of we should do this. We should at least give this a shot. And, the projects were so ambitious that they couldn't be funded totally out of my pocket.
Right.
This required outside help, and which Accel partnered with us on.
Okay, I love that. So you're still founder, CEO.
Correct.
You're still setting the vision. You're still steering the ship. You're probably still checking PRs every single morning.
That's actually the really cool part about it. Yes, to answer your question, I still am, CEO of the company as official title. We brought on a COO, Tom Crary, who was previously at Pond 5, which was acquired by Shutterstock. He has done a phenomenal job, whipping this company into shape. Because I'm not like a business person. I'm a programmer, and I'm feeling my way into being a CEO of sorts. And he's been really phenomenal at helping me do that and helping the company, get our footing as we scale, because he's had experience working in these size companies and larger companies. And then we've brought on some phenomenal infrastructure engineers, software engineers, designers, like I said. And yes, I still do answer PRs every morning, in fact. So I actually maintain a lot of the same routine that I did before, which is great. So every morning I still sit down at my desk, I open up GitHub. I still am the only person managing the PRs to the framework, with help from Dries, of course, triaging those. But I really maintained a lot of what I always did, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to step back from Laravel. I still have tons of passion for working on our products and at this company, and will continue to do so.
So this tells me, the fact that you still sit down and do GitHub PRs every morning, this tells me you truly Laravel didn't need the money. You didn't need the VC because your lifestyle is exactly the same. I think a lot of people, when they raise, it's like everything changes. And it sounds like Laravel is just continuing to do the same things, but maybe faster, definitely bigger. But your life, besides not having to deal with stuff that Tom deals with now, sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, it is similar. I will say I have a few more calls, which historically, anyone that's known me or worked with me knows I'm very call averse. I will say we do have weekly kind of cadence calls on things like the cloud project and other initiatives we're working on. But for the most part, I would say my day is pretty similar to how it was before, which is great. But I have a whole new team of helpful people to take more responsibilities off my shoulders. And
deal with bookkeeping, accounting, corp dev, all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's been great, and it's freed me up to focus on, honestly, our core products and what story we want to tell with those, and how they should work, and what we should emphasize in the feature set, where we should go with the framework. So I've been able to guide that. Actually, I have even more time to do that now than I did before.
It sounds like life is still pretty good. However, you do have more calls, so I'm sorry for that. I know how little you like calls, but a small price to pay. So I saw you were on some panel. I saw on Twitter. Everything I know about you is from Twitter. I see all the stuff on Twitter. So I saw on Twitter you were on some panel with, I think, the CEO of Vercel and some other open source CEOs. Was that an Accel function? Are they like in the open source world beyond Laravel?
Yeah, I think that's really one of the cool things about Accel is they get open source. They've funded open source before. So yeah, I was at an open source day hosted by Accel in San Francisco. There was a variety of panels there, some really awesome speakers. Guillermo from Vercel was there, as you mentioned. David Kramer from Sentry, Evan Yu from Vue/Vite fame. The creator of NPM was there. The creator of Swift, the programming language, was there. So yeah, there were some really big names there, and it was honestly an honor to be a part of that. And so yeah, I think Accel has a history actually of understanding open source communities, and so it was a very natural fit to work with them at Laravel and to grow this company. And they get how open source works and how developers think, and they understand the need to build great developer tools. They know that developers are very picky in their tools. They're very persnickety sometimes, in
the best way possible.
Yeah. They're just we're a very demanding.
We have good taste.
Yeah,
we'll say that.
We're a high taste, very demanding group of people, and we want to build tools that developers love, and they get that. So that's been great.
So have you, sitting on these, this is so cool to me, sitting on these panels with other CEOs, are you like now friends with Guillermo, and are they like, are you guys talking in the back channels about how to scale your companies?
I've talked to Guillermo a few times. Obviously, we're big fans of what they've done with Vercel. We draw inspiration from them in many ways. We think Next.js is great, and I know a lot of people are using Next.js to talk to Laravel backends even. So we would love to honestly facilitate that story and make that as easy as possible for people. And in fact, Guillermo is an angel investor in Laravel, which may be surprising.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Be surprising to people, but not only him, but also David Kramer from Sentry is joined in our angel investor group, as well as Bryant Chow from Webflow, the CTO.
Cool.
And they are users of Vapor. And I feel like I related to all of these people as a fellow hacker, as a fellow programmer. I don't know if many people know, but Guillermo created Socket.io.
I did not know that.
Which we've used. We had a driver for in Laravel Echo way back in the day for WebSockets. Of course, went on to found Zeit and then Vercel and Next.js. David Kramer, basically built Sentry, I think with just a couple other people. So very much relate to him as a fellow hacker, indie hacker at first, but now also part of the Accel portfolio of companies. And then, Bryant at Webflow as a Vapor user, as a lover of Laravel. It was great to have him in our group of angels as well. So I just really, I connect with these people, even though I don't talk to them every day, but I connect with them as a fellow indie hacker that loves to build great products. So I was just super pumped for them to kind of have confidence in us as a company and to join us as an angel investor and as a kind of an advisor. It's great to be able to talk to these people and get advice from people who have built amazing companies, especially as I find my footing. You know, running a larger company is something very new to me, and it's been super helpful to be able to bounce ideas off of people like that.
I imagine especially Guillermo at Vercel, because who better to give you insights into the road ahead than the guy who's building basically the same thing for a different ecosystem.
Yeah, totally. And we would love to, that's what we want to bring to PHP, right? We want to bring that level of ease of deployment. That's what we think Laravel developers want. That's what I want. That's how I want to deploy my Laravel applications. And so many times the products we build at Laravel, they're always driven by, you know, what in many ways what I want in a Laravel platform. You know, if I'm going to build a new Laravel app tomorrow, how do I want to deploy it? What tools do I want? How do I want to monitor it? That's what we're basically building. Yeah, that's Laravel Cloud.
Okay. So in taking all this money, it sounds like there's a whole new cap table. You've got Accel, you've got some angels. Is there anyone else we need to know about here?
Well, I mean, one great part of this was being able to give every employee at Laravel skin in the game, you know. So many of the employees at Laravel, we've been able to grant equity to, you know, if they choose. And I think that's great. You know, I think we're able to share the success of Laravel with our employees. It's motivating. You feel like you're part of something. And we've been able to do that. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited for them. And honestly, the whole team has been super excited about everything we're building. And that was honestly one of my fears.
I'm sure.
As we transitioned from a bootstrapped company where honestly we were kind of taking it easy, you know, to this now funded company that's a little bit more ambitious. It's a little bit bigger. I worried that people would be not receptive, that they would be skeptical, that they would be sad, you know, or they would be scared, you know, where is Taylor going to go? And I think a lot of them like how things used to be, but honestly, everyone has just gotten super pumped about it. And I think it's because we're working on really exciting stuff. Probably the most exciting tools we've ever built, honestly, in the history of Laravel. And that's what developers like to work on, you know, is new, awesome tools. So everyone's been really excited about it. And that doesn't just apply to cloud, it applies to other new products we're building that we'll be announcing soon. It applies even to our open source stuff. We've been building really great stuff there. You know, at Laracon, we also announced our VS Code extension. We showed other open source things that we've been building that I think people are really excited about. So we don't want to neglect any of the things that we've done historically. We don't want to neglect our open source stuff. We don't want to neglect Forge, but we're really excited about some of this new stuff we're doing. And I think the team is super excited too.
I can imagine being an employee and hearing things are going to change. And the first thing I would feel is fear.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I like the way things are.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty great that you have this this testament to things are still good. Like Laravel is still like not only a good ecosystem, which we've talked about, but still a good place to work. And I think that's hard to pull off, especially when you bring in new managers.
Yeah.
So you're bringing in new money and the pace changes, but you're also bringing in engineering managers and stand-ups and like life is changing for the employees. And one, having skin in the game, but two, being able to build what really is the future of PHP. Sounds like it assuaged a lot of those fears.
Yeah, and I think we wanted to respect how Laravel had operated historically in terms of being kind of casual, not a ton of meetings, not a ton of bureaucracy. But at the same time, I think actually some of the existing employees wanted a little bit more structure. Like some people like having some structure. So we've tried to balance it where we still operate pretty quick, pretty nimble, pretty loose. We get things done really quickly. We make decisions quickly. But at the same time, we've tried to add a little bit of structure to how we build products, to how we ship things, to how we do stand-ups, to how we do check-ins. That I think is good, honestly. And I think we needed, even at a 10-person company, I think we needed. And bringing in, you know, director of engineering and Andre Valentin, he's helped us put some of that structure in place. Bringing in some product managers for cloud and for some other things we're building has helped us put structure in place around our roadmap, around our milestones, around our goals, so that everyone has a very clear picture of where we're heading. Which is not something we always had when it was just bootstrapped and I was just like, hey, let's build this, let's build that. And
bring me an idea, we'll talk about it, and then you go do it.
Exactly, very loose. So I think it's a good balance. I think we're finding a good way to work, and I think people are happy with it.
It seems from the outside, again, it seems like everyone is happy. I've seen no grumbles. I've seen nobody's left. It just seems like everybody is really excited to work on this.
Yeah, and I'm glad, because I feel like we have some of the best PHP developers in the world at Laravel. I feel like many of them are better programmers than I am, and they have great ideas, and that's the awesome part about working at Laravel is everyone's ideas are heard. People have very good ideas many times, and it's just fun to work in that environment where you're working with really great people and you're building really exciting things, and everyone's contributing and everyone's bringing value to the table. It's just a really rewarding way to work. So I think people are enjoying that. You know?
Well, if satisfaction is measured on quality output, everyone is super satisfied because y'all are turning out not only like, yes, a SaaS product, but still the packages, the first party offerings continue to be unbelievable. Yeah. And so I think this is something I've always noticed and tried to tell other people about Laravel is that it is, in my opinion, the tightest ecosystem from local development. I mean, even before local development, like setting up your machine all the way through now a production grade scalable app. Has that always been the vision for Laravel from literally download to deploy? And is that what you're going to do for the next 10 years as well?
Yeah, it has always been the vision, honestly. And we've just kind of incremented on that vision and evolved it as the tech has changed, from Homestead all the way up to Laravel Herd today. And I feel like Laravel Herd was honestly the culmination in my mind of what I wanted for local Laravel development.
It's very good.
I can buy a new laptop, Windows or Mac.
Yep.
I can install Laravel Herd. It has PHP. Now it has MySQL. Everything's ready to go. To me, that solved local development in many ways. For
when
PHP.
you went on stage with a fresh laptop and you're like, I don't even have PHP. Watch me go. That was
definitely the riskiest.
Awesome.
That was definitely the riskiest live demo I've ever done. Going on stage, cool. Truly.
Yeah.
And that was not a joke. That was not a smoke screen. Truly did not even have PHP on my laptop and had a full demo to do.
Yeah.
But Laravel Herd fixed that, and I feel like Cloud is sort of the counterpart to that at the deployment side, on the production side, where we want that same level of ease of use for deployment, for scaling, for monitoring that Herd brings to local development. I think Cloud does that for getting to production and going online. So that putting those two pieces in place was huge for me, personally, and making that vision complete, you might say. And yeah, we'll continue to iterate on this for years. I'm sure we'll continue to build out both of these products and both sides of the story, as the years go by. But I just love where we're at with these two products.
What's interesting to me about you, one interesting thing, there are many. One interesting thing is everything you build is for Laravel and the Laravel ecosystem. And people may hear that and think, duh, he founded Laravel. Well, DHH made Ruby on Rails, and he still builds a lot of great stuff for that ecosystem. He's got Basecamp. Yeah. And it's just not related whatsoever. Will you ever build something unrelated, or are you just going to continue to make our lives better?
It's not on my radar, honestly. I don't have any firm plans to go do something else like that. I just still love working on Laravel. And in many ways, it's I don't play video games that much or do anything like that. In many ways, Laravel is that for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of what do you do in your free time? Well, think about Laravel, or try to think of cool things that we could do at Laravel. And it's honestly just my passion. It's what I created. I will probably never create anything like Laravel again. I feel like it's very once in a lifetime to be able to build a tool like that, to have it affect so many people, and it's very hard to just capture lightning in a bottle again. So I'm all in, on Laravel. And like we said, when I brought up, partnering with Accel to the team, that was honestly their first question is, what about you? What are you going to do?
Yeah, we need you, man.
Yeah, and I was I'm here. I'm going to be doing the same stuff, and hopefully with even more freed up time to focus on what really I want to focus on, which is shaping the products we're building, making those high-level product design decisions, working on the open source framework and shepherding that and making sure it stays at the quality level that people expect from Laravel at this point. I still write docs. I still rework pull requests. So I'm doing a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, that was their number one thing, and I'm still all in at the company.
God, I love that. Man of the people. That's why we love you so much. So here's maybe one of my final questions is, I imagine with cloud out now and people starting, I think, to become aware of the Laravel story, the productivity story, I imagine there's going to be a lot of, the community is going to grow. The community is just naturally going to grow, which I think is a good thing. And maybe even a lot of new people are watching something like this. So what would you say to people who are new to this particular community, Laravel, and what would you say to people who have been around for the whole ride?
Well, I think that's one of our goals with Cloud. One is to make it easier for totally new people to come into Laravel and to deploy an app and see how productive they can be. I think we really needed that deployment story to be super, super easy, for it to be really quick, where there wasn't a lot of waiting around, because I would love for people's first web programming language to shift back to PHP. Back when I first came into PHP in 2010, 2011, many people came into web development through PHP because it's such a productive language. It's very easy to host. It's very easy to deploy compared to other languages at the time.
Right.
And, as time has gone by, other ecosystems caught up and became actually easier to deploy than PHP even. And we had to get back to being the easiest full stack development web tool in the world, and also still be the easiest to deploy and scale as well.
It was that last mile where we fell down for a while. Because we were still super productive all the way up to deploy, and then it was like, you got to at least know a little bit about servers.
Yeah, so I want new people to be able to come into the ecosystem. They have Laravel, they have great docs, they have Laracast, they have tons of community content on how to build applications, and I think they'll be surprised what they can build and how quickly they can build it, and how few decisions they have to agonize over, like, how am I going to work with my database? How am I going to do a background job? How am I going to send an email? What providers can I use? All of that is sort of solved with very easy to use solutions, and then they can deploy it on Laravel Cloud. And I want this to be the default web stack. That's what I want every new web developer to use, and that's what I want companies to see, is how productive they can be with Laravel and PHP, in 2024 with Laravel Cloud. And for existing Laravel community members that have been around for a long time, I think we're only going to get better. We're building more polished tools, we're building better tools, more robust tools to take your applications to the next level as you grow. Because we want to serve, of course, our small, medium, and large enterprise size companies, and we think Laravel is a great platform for all applications of all sizes. And we want to continue to build that story as well.
Yeah, that's kind of my guess too, is that this is going to, the community is going to grow by leaps and bounds. And I'm excited. I started, programming a long time ago, and it was all PHP, and I've stuck with it ever since. I'm excited for the community to grow and for new people to come in and get to experience not only the productivity, but I just feel like the Laravel community is really supportive, and there's a real builder ethos in the Laravel community. It's like, yes, we care about code quality, we care about architecture and cleanliness, of course we do, but honestly, we just want to build stuff. And I feel like that has come a lot from you, but it is all throughout the community. And I'm excited for new people to experience that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think we have great vibes.
We have great vibes. It's hard to say it, but we have great vibes.
I know. I think people are friendly. Everyone wants to build cool stuff. People are encouraging of people that are trying to build cool stuff. There's not a lot of tearing down and nitpicking. And I think, I think that's awesome. It's such a great ecosystem to build stuff in. There's so much inspiration you can draw from other people, and I'm excited for new people to get a chance to use Laravel and ship amazing things on cloud.
Build more stuff. Okay, I think that's where we're going to leave it. Why don't you tell us where we can go to learn more, leave us with some final thoughts, and then we'll wrap.
Yeah, final thoughts. Well, First, I'd like to just thank Accel, for believing in Laravel, for believing in me, for believing where we can take this company, for the products that we would like to build that I had in the back of my head for so long, but never thought I would get a chance to build them, honestly, because they were just too big, too hard, and now we're actually doing it, and it just feels amazing. So thank you to Accel for making that possible and for believing in us and believing in our vision for the company. And if you want to learn more about cloud, go to cloud.laravel.com. We have a waiting list up where you'll be the first to get updates, get the latest news, and the first to get access to the platform when it launches. So
I love
check that out.
I love it. Thanks, Accel. Thank you, Taylor, for sitting down and talking to us about all of this. Thank you all for watching. Let us know what you think. Comment below, share with your friends, and we'll talk to you soon.